Hello lads and ladies and welcome back to the channel. Tonight we are here for a League One Roundup Christmas festive New Year Roundup. You know, we had loads of games. We've got 3 games to talk about. Danny Cowley out the door late last night. Oh, was it Danny Cowley left the football club? Sorry, Monday evening he left the football club. McCann also out the door. Darren Ferguson back in at Peterbrough for the 4th time as well. We've got so much to talk about. January transfer news as well. Some big signings being made at the top and at the bottom of Sky Bet League One. And to discuss it with us for the next 50 minutes or so, we can't do it alone. And we're going to let him come in now. It's Jake from the State West podcast. How was your Christmas, Jake?
Full of family, which meant it was awful. No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
Loved it. No, it's not. It was
nice.
Yeah.
For me, Christmas is about seeing, people you've not seen all year. Yeah, it's lovely to see you. It's lovely to see you. Well, it's not, because if it was great to see you, I'd see you all year round.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I was more excited for the football on Boxing Day than I was for Christmas Day, but I really shouldn't have been, should I? But no, yeah, good, mate. It was good. Just wishing yourself and everyone else watching a Happy New Year as well.
Yeah, Happy New Year to all the viewers. Thank you for your support in 2022 and a big 2023 this year. Some goals that we've got this year is to get this show off up and running even further and to try and hit 13,000 subscribers as well. We've also got a lot of other goals coming as well. We shall see in different types of content as well. Let us know how your Christmas was in the comments and how your team got on over the festive period as well. I'll be honest with you, I was so more interested in the darts and football over the Christmas period, but that's me, and I support Fleetwood. So as you can see, that's probably why I was favouring another sport. We'll come to the comments now. I agree with the sacking of Danny Cowley. We will come to that because I do want to touch that. I am going to put a limit on Jake how long he can speak on that, by the way, because otherwise he'll be begging for his manager to be sacked and Danny Cowley to come back.
No, not a chance.
It's not his time. Hello, Jim. He actually put one of the best comments in over Christmas. Fleetwood and late goals go together like rhubarb and custard. So there you are. Cowley's coming to the Imps. Oh, okay. Evening, Ben and Jake. There you are, Jake. A Sheffield Wednesday fan speaking to you still.
I don't think you will for long.
Very, very soon. But we'll go on with the channel. So what we're going to do today is go through each team from the bottom of the table, the Christmas period of the season so far. We'll spend about 1.5 minutes on each team. So it kind of relegates to about 36 minutes. On that, we'll go through the Sky Bet League One table, and then we'll also have a little Q&A at the end. So it'll be about 50 minutes tonight. I'm off to a little arrow competition, darts competition. So Michael Smith and Michael Van Gerwen last night put on a show. But really, tonight, it's, the real world champion.
Couldn't hit double 11 before we recorded, by the way.
Forest Green Rose, and they're not being many world champions, are they, Forest Green Rose at the moment? When you look at the form over Christmas, the 1-0 defeat to MK Dons, I think, would have hurt them. Because it was a chance. They've got a couple of wins in recent weeks where you thought, can they build on this momentum? Obviously, they beat Cambridge at home. That was a huge win for them at the time as well. And they've been battling. Although they played 25 games, look, they've won 5 games. They've lost 15 now. If you can turn 3 of those maybe into 1 win and 2 draws, you're looking at an extra 5 points, and all of a sudden you're doing a little bit better. 20 points from 25 games, I'm disappointed with. Now, they were 1-up against Port Vale till late on. Now, that seems like a harsh scoreline. For me, Port Vale scored 3 late goals. I think it was the 88th, 98th, and 102nd minute. And then, again, Exeter coming up as well, MK Dons coming up. I just don't see where they're going to get enough points from to stay up this year in Sky Bet League One.
Yeah, I think Forest Green will be really disappointed of how their festive period went. 3 games, which on paper, in and around, and maybe the Port Vale game is tougher than the rest, but they'd probably be wanting 4 to 5 points from those 3 games, and they've come away with none, which sort of emphasises why we both think they're both going to go down. Obviously, Connor Wickham's left the football club as well. He scored a massive amount of percentage of their goals, so Forest Green have got a lot of work to do to stay in League One this year. They need to sign effectively. which they've started to do. I think they've signed a lad from Hibernian, but they're going to have to start, like I said, work effectively in the window and absolutely work the nuts off to try and stay up, but can't see it for me.
Yeah, and MK Dons, obviously, we said they beat Forest Green Rovers, just above them in the table at the minute. 2 defeats to Peterborough. Peterborough, let's be honest, I know, obviously, McCann got sacked and they're not doing great in the league and they're kind of 5 points off the playoffs at the moment. Losing to Peterborough away and Plymouth away, let's be honest, their games mean nothing for them this season. Last year, they beat Plymouth 5-0, didn't they? Which is absolute carnage what happened this year. New manager bounce, not quite in full flow yet. I still think that getting rid of Liam Manning, not backing Liam Manning, will be the problem for them. I still go the process that Liam Manning needed to change up with the squad that he had. The more time goes on, the less I think that MK Dons are going to stay up, because people they'll pick up eventually. Well, we're 24, 25 games into a season now. There's only 60 points to play for. And if you think about it, they're going to need to start averaging about 1.2, 1.3 points a game. And if they don't do that, the pressure builds and builds. And if you look at the teams around them, Morecambe have had a really good festive period. Burton have picked up 6 points. I know they got beat 5-0, but they still picked up 6 out of 9. Where do you think about this MK Dons team? Because I know they won 2 in a row, but since then they've gone and lost 2, and other teams have basically caught them back up again.
Yeah, it just shows you how topsy-turvy the bottom end of Sky Bet League One is at the moment. I think you have to compare their festive period to the likes of Morecambe and Burton. MK will be disappointed that they've not been able to kick on from that win against Forest Green. Obviously, it's 2 games to go to Peterborough and Plymouth Argyle. Pretty difficult games, granted, but teams have gone there this season and won. You've gone to Peterborough and won. Vale went to Argyle and won, correct?
Here we go. He's gonna come out with it. Go on.
I'm not.
Just say what I think you're gonna say. Just get it out your system now.
Because I'm not. I'm not going to say that we beat Ipswich, because that's boring.
But you still get it out there, don't you? Oh, you got a point against them at home as well.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, cheers Ipswich fans for the 4 points. More on that later on. But no, yeah. I think they'll be disappointed not to put a better performance in against those 2 teams. And Mike Jackson's quickly running out of games to save them. And I don't think he's going to do it, unfortunately.
Yeah, agree. I'll be honest with you. I'm going to say it. I don't see the obsession with under 23s coaches. Look, at the start of the season, when he's got a budget, lads, you're in a relegation battle. Like, your points adrift. You've got...
Yeah.
MK Dons have got a League 2 squad. They have literally replayed. What they have done is literally put... So, basically, it's like they've broken both ribs. Instead of, building everything up again, they put a bit of sellotape on it and hope it stays together. And, of course, as soon as you move, crumbles. And that's where they've gone wrong this year. Morecambe, for me, they're under zero pressure. Because they've got the lowest budget one of the lowest budgets in the league, and they've won 2 in 2. Look, they were destined to go down. They were 7-8 points adrift on Boxing Day to go and beat Accrington at home, local derby 2-0, and to beat Burton 5-0. Look, I know the 5th goal was about 10 yards offside. That is let me know if you've seen that in the comments. The goal was about 10 yards offside, but it's still a really impressive, win. I remember when he signed Phillips, I was in Lincoln that day, and I remember saying to you, Jake, that it's a really good signing, Kieran Phillips. He played against Fleetwood in the under-23s a couple of times, and I've always been kind of looking at him thinking, we should maybe have a look at him. And he scored 6 in 16. You've got Jensen Weir, who scored a few goals over those period of games as well. But also they've beaten sides that are respectively 21st and 20th in the table. Now, that's what Forest Green did. They beat Cambridge. Obviously, they've got results elsewhere as well against clubs close to them. And what you're doing there is you're stopping other teams getting points around you, but you're picking up points. So that sometimes can basically mean 6 points at the end of the season. That sounds weird, but it is true. And they are starting to look like a Derek Adams side, organised, scoring goals. And the home form in the last 3 seasons, it's kind of been like win, draw, lose on average. Even last season, I think they got something like 30 points at home. So the Mazuma is a fortress. Now, we'll say one thing about Morecambe. A 5-0 result at home has been coming all season. We have said on many occasions the amount of chances they get, and they only score 1 goal. If they could just score 2 in a game, they'd be all right. The last 2 games, they scored 2 and 5. They got 6 points. And if they can just keep getting 2 in a game, they will win games of football because they've got an okay defence. The midfield will get restructured because a couple of players have gone. Farney's gone. So they can, maybe re-capitalize there. Let's see. Jake, Morecambe.
Yeah, won't go into too long because we're meant to be a minute and a half on each one. But momentum is the word I would use if you're Morecambe at the moment. You've got 2 wins against 2 teams directly above you. Great, keep going. But a really good festive period if you're a Morecambe fan. Like you said, maybe just 1 or 2 smart additions in January. Then I think there's more than a possibility of them potentially making the Great Escape. Be really interesting viewing, I think.
Yeah, and if you thought the EastEnders Christmas special was sad, where obviously a dramatic ending, you should have seen Jake's face on Boxing Day as Burton beat Lincoln 3-0, 3 goals in the first half an hour. And then they went to Forest Green Rovers and won. Obviously 1-0 up, a late goal made it 2, and Forest Green Rovers did pull one back very late on as well. Good festive period for them. Forget the 5-0, it's disappointing. But 6 points from 9. Look, if they could get 7 points from those 3 games, I think it would have been really good. Probably a point against Lincoln and 3 at Forest Green Rovers, 3 at Morecambe would have been the perfect situation. But 22 points from 25 games. Look, it's not bad considering they had 1 point from the first 7 to go and get 21 points from 18 games. If they go and do that again, they're going to probably end up with about 44, 45 points. On points per game, probably would indicate it may be enough, but it may not. Anything can happen in this league.
Yeah, Burton were really impressive when I went on Boxing Day. Clearly backed that up with a result away at Forest Green as well, which I think Dino would be absolutely chuffed about, getting 6 points out of 6. I think the defeat away at Morecambe slightly might have tarred it for them a little bit. They're a team that they were above. They were probably expecting to go there and do better. But again, it's similar to Morecambe. If they sign well and if they're consistent enough, Burton can be a threat. So fingers crossed to get 1 or 2 extra bodies in, and they can use their advantages. They can bully teams out of games. They did to us, and if they can do it to more teams, then they're going to eventually get out of the bottom 4.
I agree with that. Now, Accrington and Stanley are another team that are struggling this year. Now, if you look at their first 11 games, 4 wins, 4 draws, 3 defeats, picking up, a whopping 16 points. And there were some good wins in there, going away at Shrewsbury and winning. I know Shrewsbury are either kind of like, they are literally like Real Madrid or Bamber Bridge. You don't know what you're going to get from them. They went away at Bristol Rovers and won, a tough ground, kept a clean sheet as well. Now, I know Bristol Rovers like to concede, but they score goals, and that's been backed up in previous weeks as well. Obviously, a couple of defeats, to bigger sides in their Ipswich at home, but the last kind of 12 games, they've only won 1, drawn 3. That's worrying. 6 points collected, and we say it a lot. They just needed this January transfer window. We've said a lot. They need a striker. They need someone that they can hit. They need someone that can hold the ball up. Today, they've signed, Presley, who was very good for Wimbledon last year, I thought. I know he didn't get a lot of goals, but he was a focal point. He held the ball up. He brought others into play. And he was often kind of like the person who made the goal, who probably got the last touch before the person who got the assist got the assist, if you get what I mean. And that isn't mentioned a lot in games. And for teams like Accrington, who are 1-0 up away from home and need to kind of waste minutes or get the ball into someone, I think he's a perfect signing, because the top goal scorer is Tommy Lee and Sean McConville on 4. And the defeats over Christmas, I think, have hurt them. 2-0 at Morecambe. Let's be honest, going away at Derby County, Accrington Stanley have got nothing to lose. Playing away at Pride Park's an absolute dream come true, but losing 4-0 isn't great.
Yeah, no, I think the most important result that they got was the draw against Barnsley. It shows that they can cut it against the big boys. Also ruined my bet, so thank you very much, Accrington, much appreciated. But But no, they've got a bit of a distraction from the league now. They've got FA Cup obviously on Saturday, and then Papa John's the Tuesday after. So if they can, look to progress in both of those competitions, I mean, I'm hoping they don't progress in one of them for obvious reasons. It could be a welcome distraction, and it might ultimately turn the league form around. But you've got to win these games, and they've got. I'm looking at the fixtures. They've got Rovers, Barnsley again, Argyle, and Ipswich to end the month. Tough month ahead for Accrington.
It is. I always think that you got to play them very, very soon as well. Argyle got a really tough month coming, but it worked out for them last time as well. I think maybe being away at a lot of these big clubs acting this time, instead of being at home when you've got more away fans in, being away, obviously, I know you've got a big crowd on you, but you've got absolutely nothing to lose. You're away from home anyway, and you can just play your game. Cambridge, another one. Ironside is 10 goals short of last season. I know we're halfway through the season, but only 4 goals is a disappointing campaign. First 12 games, it started off really well. First 8-9 games, Mark Bonner was interested for Rotherham. We're doing really well. They won the first 4 home games. The last 12 games, 2 wins, 2 draws, 7 defeats in the last 11 games, sorry. I just think that they are getting dragged into it, a bit like Wimbledon did last year, where they went, was it 22, 23 games without a win? And they are a team that can pull something out of a hat. They drew to Plymouth recently. They beat Shrewsbury over Christmas as well. They beat Wickham away from home. So they are capable of pulling off a result. But 1 win in 8 games. The next couple of games, Bristol Rovers, Morecambe and Shrewsbury. For me, with having Bristol Rovers and Morecambe at home, you should target 4 points out of that, because I fear Bristol away more than I do at home. And away at Shrewsbury, you should be thinking, let's get a point. We beat them at home. And if you get 5 points from that and end up kind of unbeaten, you're kind of thinking, right, we're going back to be hard to beat. We're getting points on the board. But their away form has been not woeful, but been probably a little bit underwhelming in the last 18 months.
Yeah, I would agree. That they've not really cut it away from home at all, apart from, think about it, the result up at Newcastle, this time a year ago. So, yeah, Cambridge are definitely back in amongst it. I watched the game against Wednesday. I watched the highlights back, and they were horrendous. Obviously, Wednesday going to do that to teams, aren't they? So, yeah, I think Cambridge have had a sort of meh Christmas break. So, they've got some easier games in January. So we'll have to wait and see how they are in a month's time. But if they've not picked up maybe 4 or 5 points on those 4 or 5 games, then you're going to seriously start worrying about them.
Yeah, agree. Cheltenham again, Plymouth, Bristol Rovers, Shrewsbury over the Christmas period. I think they would have probably said 4 points brilliant, 3 points okay. 2 points would be standard. Anything else worrying. Winning against Shrewsbury away from home 1-0 is a great result. And Daniel Undu giving them a parting gift before he goes back on.
Go on, Dan.
Back to Southampton, believed to be going to Bolton, with Bakayoko going to Salford. So kind of a huge turnover that way. I think Daniel Undu has been good for them. I think he got 5 goals for them. But for Bolton, let's see. Plymouth to lose 1-0, at home, battling. You'd be disappointed because you were close to a point. And then Bristol Rovers 2-1, Alfie May getting a goal. I think that's a positive sign. I don't think it's been a bad Christmas period, and I don't think it's been a bad start to the season. I think they've been okay. I think Wade Elliott has been Belt a bad hand, basically. And I think that when you're replacing a club legend in Duff, and I saw Barnsley the other day, and it was literally 3-5-2 hard to beat. It is so hard to build up relationship, because you are literally the next guy to the guy everyone loved. For me, Michael Appleton, I thought felt like Lincoln. John Sheridan a little bit at Fleetwood. Everyone couldn't warm to him at first. They did towards the end, because he got and how you do that is get results on a consistent basis. They struggled to do that, but I think Cheltenham need to realise they're in League One. They're doing well to be in League One, and if they can battle survival this year, I think he's done a very good job, and I think it might win over a few Cheltenham fans.
Yeah, I think from a performance point of view, I think Cheltenham will be really happy with their festive period, actually. Yes, they might not have got the points to show for it, but a really positive performance at home to Argyle. Losing 1-0 at home is no disgrace at all. They're averaging like 2.2 points a game. They're one of the best sides we've seen at this level for a very long time. Gas in some very good form. Yes, they've been poor at home this season, but still with the likes of Collins, Evans, Anderson, Coburn, they're dangerous. And to be in that game, they did pretty well. And then to go to Salop and win. Shrewsbury's a pretty miserable ground. To go there and win. Big Dan's got the goal, fair play. Down to 10 men, bit of character. Big thing for Cheltenham over the next 3 or 4 weeks. Keep Alfie May in the building and you stand a much better chance of staying up.
100%. We'll come to the comments as well. Katie has come in with a lot of comments as well, getting a migraine reading them.
Is it like Cornell? Is it Cornell?
We've beaten Derby at home already, yeah. Fair enough. I have Plymouth dropping off completely. Ooh, I think that's harsh. Yeah. Hope Forest recall Alex Mighton from Wednesday. I think if you're playing games in League One, I think that's all that matters. You know what I mean?
I'll take him. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. So sad it didn't work out with Danny, one of the nicest guys out there. We'll come to Danny Cowley very soon because we're on the mid-table mediocrity at the minute. Sorry, Paul. I'm only having a joke. I didn't see Plymouth being. I don't see Plymouth being thrashed, but can see. Yeah, I just think we'll come to Plymouth in a minute because I've got a big thing on them.
Well, we'll come to them at the end, mate, because they're top of the league.
Say again.
We'll come to them at the end because they're top of the league.
Yeah, exactly. Colwell used to be Newcastle Academy under 23, so knows him well. All about connections in League One. Charlton, 10 draws. You know, Fleetwood and Oxford have both got 11. They've got 10.
We've got 11.
There you are, catching up. 1-1 against Peterborough. Decent point. Leeburn gets the goal. I think he's been really impressive, Miles Leeburn, this season. I think that him and Raksaki have been the positives from them this year. 3-1 away at Oxford, lost. Leeburn again. And a 3-1 win away at Portsmouth. Raksaki getting a goal, Fraser getting a goal. 4 points from those games. You know, you start the season, they're 3 sides that you probably have in your top 10. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Great. Would you say great or would you say average? Because it's only 4 points. It's a win, draw, and a loss. And that's what mid-tables teams do.
Well, they always win at Fratton Park, Ben. Have you seen the record that Charlton have got? They've gone last 7 trips since 2005. They've won every single time. So, bit of a bogey side. I've just spoke to Tyler Rollinson, so I've had a bit of an advantage on Charlton. I've just spoke to him for our preview. I'm hoping this weekend they've got their eye off the ball because they've got Man United next Tuesday. So, fingers crossed. But no, I think they were really poor away at Oxford. Good point against Peterborough. And then Fratton Park, well, they can't lose there. They only win. And Raksaki's been brilliant. I just think they need to do a lot of business. Forster Kaski's gone out the door already. I would expect at least 2 or 3 to come in. Maybe Macaulay Bond goes back. He's been released by QPR today, so maybe he goes in. But interesting to see how Dean Holden plays it. But fingers crossed it's not so well on Saturday anyway.
Yeah, Shrewsbury, awful Christmas, I'd say, to say the least. Lost to Cambridge, lost to Cheltenham, lost to Fleetwood. Now, I watched them against Fleetwood, and first 10, 15 minutes, 4 minutes was played because of injuries, people going down, on the floor all the time. So you can't help that if players are going down injured. Now, the penalty was given. Was it a penalty? 100% yes. It's handball, and his arm was out. I didn't get the fact sending him off because I thought they got rid of double jeopardy a couple of years ago. Book him, yellow card, it's a penalty. You either send him off and it's no penalty, which his referee's seen it. It is a penalty, but it's not a sending off. And that ruined the game a little bit. We got a goal a couple of minutes later. Their heads went. They had no real goal scoring threat. The top goal scorer, again, he's on 4. Tom Bayliss and Sayedi are both on 4. I just think that, again, I don't get them because they won the previous 2. They've got Burton, Cambridge and MK Dons coming up. They'll probably go and get 7 points out of it. They are the most consistent, inconsistent side I have ever seen. But for me, Steve Cottrell has done a remarkable job there. They've got a top 12, top 14 squad. They're not overachieving, they're not underachieving. How long is it until they say they have a little bit of ambition and go, let's go for something. Let's bring in someone that can give them a bit bigger budget and let's try and see if we can threaten the top 6. They've done it before, remember?
Yeah, that was what I was about to say. Sam Ricketts was pretty much what you just sort of said there, somewhat different, and ultimately that sort of gave the egg back on the face. But the one thing I think Steve Cottrell, I think the one thing that Steve Cottrell will be really disappointed is 3 games, 3 red cards. That will be a massive disappointment for Steve Cottrell, whether they've been rescinded or wrongly sent off or whatever. You need to improve your discipline if you're going to be able to make sure that you are constantly, to give yourself a best chance of winning games, you need to have 11 men on the pitch. So,
Yeah, agree with that. Stubbs, there's a name I remember. Sam Stubbs. He played literally 20 minutes for Fleetwood and got injured. What's the story with him? Because I remember coming to Exeter. He's not really played a lot for you, has he? You signed him 2 years ago, was it now? So, yeah, I'd like to hear a bit more about that. Go on then, Jake. A disappointing start to Boxing Day because you were a bit... I messaged you on Boxing Day. You messaged me once back and I thought, right, you're a bit grizzly. I'll leave you for a couple of days. Get over it. And then 2 decent points against promotion-threatened sides. Bolton at home, Ben House scoring. And then Ipswich, Jack Diamond scoring 4 points from Ipswich. I think you'd be buzzing with that. 12 games at home, only the 2 wins, but you're unbeaten.
Yeah, weird, isn't it? I've touched on Burton. It was embarrassing. They just bullied us completely. Bolton, I think we're massively aggrieved because the goal that they've scored, Dapo Afolayan's clearly elbowed Lasse Sorensen. It shouldn't stand. It should be a free kick. Afolayan subsequently got a 3-match ban. So that's potentially 2 points that we've lost. Played really well defensively, but Bolton couldn't break us down with 10 men at all. Then Ipswich, obviously, also went down to 10 men, so we've got our own discipline issues. But Ipswich really poor for me on that day anyway. I don't know if it's because they're playing us, but absolutely resolute again. Didn't trouble us really first half, apart from hitting the bar. We go 1-0 up, think, right, that's it. We've done it again. But to bring on Ladapo, Chaplin and Humphreys, and that's what they can do. And ultimately they switched the game, and ultimately they had 20 minutes at us after they'd scored the goal and still couldn't win the game. So, yeah, I'm fairly happy considering 2 points off those. Probably should have been a four-point festive period, but you know what? Points against those 2, and got in Wes Burns' head as well a little bit. So happy days.
You are. Remember Bristol City? I remember Steve Cottrell, Bristol City. He was that squad when they had that, Aaron Wilbraham up front.
Agard as well, Kieran Agard.
Oh no, it's literally like I remember he spoke a lot about Steve Cottrell, Abraham, and he said, what a guy he was, and they worked together at Shrewsbury as well, and he is a very good man manager. I just think that. I think he's wasted a little bit at Shrewsbury, and I think maybe Shrewsbury need a change up. I think he needs a change up. Would he carry on in football? I know he's had scares, health scares in the last 2 years, and done a really good job. Just maybe when you go a little bit far with a football club. Oxford again, 1-6, drawn 11, lost 6. Again, 5 points in 5 games.
That's our record you just read. Oxford have won 7, drawn 9, lost. Oxford have won 7, drawn 8, lost 9.
Sorry. I'm still on mid-table. Lincoln, aren't I? We need to go up in the table a little, up in the table a little bit, don't we?
Don't get used to it.
I forgot Fleetwood were above Lincoln.
Yeah, don't get used to it.
Must have got my reading glasses.
Yeah,
no, but Oxford are a side that can put runs together at the back half of the season. Do you know what I mean? That's where they've made themselves in the last 2 years. I just think this year, I don't think they're good enough for it. I don't think they've got the quality for it. You look at Brannigan, he's their top goal scorer. He's got 1 in 11. I know Mike Taylor started scoring goals as well, but they are inconsistent to a T. And that's what Jack's been saying as well. You know, a great result at Charlton. Look, away at Ipswich, for me, write that off. They're the best side in the league with Plymouth and Wednesday at this moment in time. With Plymouth and Wednesday, I said. With Plymouth and Wednesday, I said. I didn't say they're the best. They are the best side with Plymouth and Wednesday.
No, you don't write off Ipswich away,
in the top
Ben.
three. They're in the top three. They've got 50 points from 25 games. I don't care if you beat them once. You did it once. They did it 25 times. But this moment in time, Wednesday and Plymouth were a little bit better than them because they got more points. Charlton, great result. I know Charlton aren't doing well this year, but to beat a side, new manager bounce, you know, they are a better side than the table suggests. But then to go and lose to Exeter and Nombe getting the goal as well, which is bitterly disappointing for me because Exeter are side just a little bit above them in the table, a type of game that if you win, you can go above them in the table and you kind of knocking a rival over. You've got to kind of go through the blocks a little bit to get through to the top six, haven't you?
Yeah, were you disappointed it's because you had to say Nombe or Numble one more time than what you wanted to? Yeah, no.
I said it right for the last 3 months. Give me a break.
Oxford have been really indifferent. Like you said, I've spoke to Jack about them. Not particularly great from what I can tell. Even in the Charlton game, they weren't really out of second gear. Obviously, the Exeter game is probably the most disappointing out of the lot because that's a game they feel they should win, beating them 4-2 twice already this season. So, Oxford for me just need to write this season off, get to May as quickly as they possibly can and go again under a new manager, I think, because that probably is best for all parties.
Yeah, agree. And Fleetwood as well. 25% win record in the league. Good to get a win. Over Shrewsbury, took the club 7 points above the bottom four. Fifth best away form in the league. 4 wins in there, 6 draws, 3 defeats. However, the third worst home form, which is, for me, very worrying. Sean Rooney was back the other day, did okay. No meltdowns this time, which is good to see. He obviously got sent off on Boxing Day, but going forward, Sean Rooney's a delight. Scott Brown rung the changes, put Josh Villa as a cam and attacking midfielder. That paid dividends. But he said after the game, promise I'm a cherry, he's one of the best physical players he has ever seen, which, surprised me. And, our whole game plan was, devoted to him. So be interested to see the next, few weeks. Now he's changed it. Will things start paying off and will we turn draws into wins and, defeats into draws? Because Fleetwood Town have been playing to not lose games this year, as someone said on one of our fan set, and that is bang on. It is rumoured that Joe Garner's leaving the football club. No words. And Alex Cairns today has left the football club. Just let me go and get a hanky. Yeah, be interested to see who we bring in. We brought Phoenix Patterson in from the League of Ireland, the championship version, the one league below where Promises come from. So it'll be interesting to see how he does, but I still think the club need a centre half. It depends on DJ's progress. He played for under 23s today. They need a midfielder. I need a striker, minimum. Right, we've done Fleetwood. Portsmouth.
Portsmouth.
I think it's 1 win in 14 for them. First 7 games, they collected 17 points. They played Plymouth, got a late goal there, which was a great point. And then they played Ipswich, where the trouble began a little bit, didn't they? Where they lost 3-2, and we thought, they'll bounce back. Well, they didn't, did they? I know they've lost 3 of the last 5, but they've drawn 6 of the last 9. When you look at it all together. I know they've only won 2 of the last kind of 14, 15 games or so. They have been winning in cups. They're in the 3rd round of the FA Cup. They're in the later stages of the Papa John's Trophy. They haven't obviously not been winning games in all competitions, but Danny Cowley's unfortunately lost his job. He is literally one of the nicest guys in football. The one thing I'll say about Danny Cowley, his plan A, if it went well, he's in the top 3 managers in League One, without a shadow of a doubt. If his plan A didn't go well, for me, there was no answer there and there was no response. He didn't change it. I watched him against Fleetwood and they were lacklustre for 35, 40 minutes and nothing was changing. And it was the same system. Get balls down the side, get crosses in, try and overload them, try and press from the front. and unfortunately, a good manager, probably the manager that's connected most with the fans for a long, long time. What they needed, he gave them what they needed, but not what they wanted. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, no, like I just echo what you've said. Danny is one of the nicest blokes in football. Nicky as well. I think they're both terrific people, and I'll be careful how long I speak about him. But I genuinely couldn't believe it when I saw Tom had gone live to break the news. It was about 10 o'clock. I couldn't believe it. I didn't think I'd read it right for some reason. I think from what I could muster from what Tom and it is the 4-0 lot had to say, disappointed. Really, they feel that the players perhaps aren't playing for the manager. Only Joe Morella's come out and said thank you for everything Gaffer, whereas none of the players has, so that might have proved that point. But I think from what I could tell is they sort of were disappointed that they've not had the big away day at Tottenham to send him off. Obviously, that's coming up on the weekend. I think he probably deserved it. And if there's any man that you want in a big FA Cup game away from home, it's Danny Cowley. You know. Hey, yeah, you know.
Can I just say though? I think I can see why they've done it, because I think they'll get an awful lot of backlash if they did it. If they did it next Monday, they say lost 3-0 to Spurs at the weekend, which is very probable that they would lose. You know, the way Tottenham are playing, you don't know. I think there'll be a lot more stick on the football club. Well, we've only lost to Spurs. Why sack them after we've lost to Spurs? Why not after we lost to Charlton, or why not after we lost to MK Dons? So that they're going to get backlash anyway. But I can see why they've done it now. But I'll be honest with you, I don't think they'll get a better manager in than Danny Cowley. I'll say that now. Neil Warnock for 6 months. You might as well give Danny Cowley an extra 18 months if you're going to do that, because you're going to have Neil Warnock change a complete approach. You're going to have something totally different, and then you're just going to have a new manager in the summer. So again, you've got loads of different players at the football club that Neil Warnock has signed in January that might not be wanted again in the summer.
Yeah, I think they are going down the route of a proper manager that they're going to have. They're going to take on as a project. I think they're happy to pay compensation. I think his name's Andrew Moon, the Pompey journalist. I think I've seen some names linked with it, obviously, like you do. Liam Richardson, I think, for me, I know you said Liam Manning to Tom. I think Liam Richardson is without doubt the right man to go back to Pompey, where they had some really good times as an assistant manager, obviously to Paul Cook. He's got promoted out at this level before. I think he just fits the bill completely. Like they say, they know him already, so it's not too difficult a conversation. And Liam's a good number one. We saw that last year, didn't we? So for me, it's Liam Richardson, not Manning.
Yeah, I think Manning will be a good option. I wouldn't be writing off Uwe Rosler. I'm just going to say that now. Out of work, German coach, did well with Wigan, did well with Fleetwood. Look, I know it didn't end well at Fleetwood, but people look at Manning, people look at Rosler, people look at Stendhal for how it ended. Look at the football clubs. Did they back him? Things go wrong at football clubs. It's not just the manager. People are now calling Liam Manning a bad manager for what happened in the second year of his job. Liam Manning was hung out to dry. So, let's see. It'd be good to see if they could get Liam Manning in my opinion, or Liam Richardson will be a good choice as well. The only reason I think they get a top coach like a Chris Wilder is the history of the football club or the supporters, because I think that job, it isn't an attractive job right now.
That would be dangerous if they got Chris Wilder. Can I just say that?
Yeah, it would be, but it isn't an attractive job right now because they haven't got a big budget. They haven't got a great squad. They're in mid-table. They're 9 points off the playoffs, but the supporters make the job. Danny Cowley has said how much he fell in love with it, and I think Danny Cowley probably. Again, I'm going to use the terms of a relationship again. He has literally put all his eggs in one basket. He's literally bled his heart for those supporters. And those supporters mean the world to him. And when he wins, he's the happiest man alive. But when he's lost, he felt like he's let them down and he can't sleep at night. And be like a relationship, it's like your heart eventually does get hurt so many times that it just ends. And obviously you know that too well, don't you, Jake? So
I do, mate. Can we move on to Gas, or else I'll start crying?
Yeah, brilliant, aren't they? And to tell you what, Joey Barton came out in September when Portsmouth beat the Gas 4-4-2. will be miles above them in the line. Well, they're above them in the table. Danny Cowley's been sacked. Was Joey Barton right?
No.
For the first time in his life.
No, of course he won't.
A great period for them recently up until the Christmas period. I know they've won 1, lost 2. Losing away at Wickham, we'll come to Wickham in a minute because their form has been remarkable of late. A great result against Cheltenham at home. Against Exeter, a thrilling game, 2-0 down, 3-2 up, 4-3 down in the last minute. But they've got goals. When you've got Collins on 13, Josh Coburn on 8, Marcus on 4, Sinclair scoring. Brilliant goals from everywhere. Entertaining to watch. Good first season in League One. I think it's going to be kind of like Barton's first season at Fleetwood, where they'll get to 60 points. They'll probably finish in the top 12. Won't threaten the playoffs. Won't threaten the bottom 4.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The only concern I have for Bristol Rovers is there were some top teams in this league looking for a striker, aka Ipswich. I think would be one potentially if Ipswich want to stump the money up. But no, Gas have had a great couple of months, and like you say, you fully expect them to consolidate and maybe kick on next year. It depends how much stronger the league is next year, because it's pretty weak at the moment. So if they can strengthen League One, then I think they'll be all right.
Agree. We've got over 100 people in the chat, so thank you for every single one that's in. If you've not already, please like the stream. Let's try and see if we can smash 50 likes. Just go down there, click the like. Also, subscribe if you're new. We're close to 10,200 subscribers. We are going for 13,000 subscribers this year, which would be nearly 2.6 times the size of Fleetwood's ground. So what does Lincoln hold, Jake? 12?
11 and a half.
11 and a half. So we can nearly fill Lincoln Stadium. Obviously, for me, the smaller stadiums in League One kind of make the best atmosphere. And I spoke to a lot of people lately who are coming to my way of thinking that, your home fans are the best in League One. And, we witnessed that against Ipswich the other day. It's just a shame that every time we play a Lincoln, they have to see you. So, we'll go on to Exeter now. And everyone raves over Bristol Rovers, but I think Exeter have had a really good season. Remember, they've had a managerial change as well that they didn't kind of anticipate. Obviously, they probably thought that he'd be off eventually. But when you've got players like Som Nombe, Giovanni Brown, Stansfield, that front three score goals, they get assists. And, Gary Caldwell, in all competitions, 4 wins, 4 draws, 4 defeats. That isn't bad at all, because we were talking where he'd only got 2 wins in his first 7. And we're thinking, well, he's not had, the best of games. He's played some tough teams. A great point against Portsmouth, which is, in my opinion, a great result. To go away at Bristol Rovers and win 4-3 in the last minute after being 2-0 up, the disappointment of being 3-2 down, to go again and the character shown to win 4-3. And then Gary Caldwell showing his coaching initiative. We got it right second time. To go away at Oxford, to shut out the back door, to keep a clean sheet after conceding 3 in the previous game and win 1-0. When you've got a player like Nombe up front, you're going to win games of football. And Exeter City have got those 3 players that, in my opinion, the team that we've just talked about, Oxford, Fleetwood, Portsmouth, Bristol Rovers, Port Vale are up next, Lincoln, Charlton, Accrington, the sides below them in the table need if they want to progress to the next band that they want. They've got it, and that is where they are. Remarkable season. I think the supporters have played the role as well. I think they've been excellent all season. And you like a late goal. Obviously, Bristol Rovers, quite a late goal against Oxford as well. Fleetwood as well. Great season for them. 8 points from the last 5 as well.
Yeah, good first season in League One for Exeter. My only worry for them is that they've got to keep a hold of them players. I think Stansfield obviously is a low need. Giovanni Brown will no doubtly have offers at the top end of League One in the summer, if not the Championship. And Sam Nombe as well. I think he's one that will be looked at by a host of League One and Championship clubs in the summer. So they've got to enjoy it while it lasts, because nothing lasts forever for football. Yeah, good first season for Exeter. Really enjoyed watching them. Free flow and attacking football, and it's not really stopped under Caldwell because, like you said, they've scored 4 goals away at Gas, which a lot of teams can do, but it's difficult to actually do it. So Yeah, really good for Exeter. Just interesting, like Gas, to see how they get on next year in a stronger League One when they might be a little bit weaker.
Yeah, agree. Port Vale, obviously, we need to rattle through these quickly as well. Port Vale obviously lost away at Wednesday. Have a day off Wednesday. Stop winning games of football. It's not fun anymore. And then obviously went to Forest Green Rovers and won 3-1. Late goals as well. Ellis Harrison back on the score sheet as well. Peterborough will come to now. Sacked McCann this morning. I said to my mate on Sunday, who do you think will be the next manager to go? And we both, he said Danny Cowley. I said Grant McCann. Cowley went a little bit before, but I just thought Danny Cowley would be stuck with for a couple more games. I thought Peterborough are a little bit more impatient. I thought, obviously, with McCann selling the club at the end of the year, I thought that if he did, it'd be something short term. Obviously, he's brought his mate back, Darren Ferguson. He's not worked out the last 3 times for him. I know he's won promotion out of this league, but long term, I don't get it. I really don't get it. The home form is good. 8 wins, at home. I think they've drawn 1, lost 3. Well, away from home, it's complete reserve. Won 3, drawn 1, lost 8.
Yeah, rubbish away from home, aren't they? And like you said, this Peterborough side, you can get at them if you go tough like you did a couple of months ago. So,
see, if I speak, I'm in big trouble. I just speak facts. You know something, Jake? They say a lot. Get someone that doesn't really know a lot about football on your show, and it makes you look even better. And that's what I've done.
I completely disagree. I think I'm the expert, not you. Anyway, yeah. I don't understand the Ferguson appointment. Really, like you said, not worked out there before massively. Yes, he got them promoted, but I personally thought Cowley would be a great appointment for Posh, and I think they will be in the summer if that's something that they want to do. But yeah, Peterborough uninspiring, really, aren't they? Even though they've got one of the best players, they might lose Jack Taylor to Ipswich this window. I think that's increasingly likely as well. So if they lose Clark Harris as well, then we might see Peterborough sort of drop down into real mid-table mediocrity and away from the playoffs.
Absolutely. Now, Wickham are coming good, aren't they? 16 points in 8 games. In that run, they've beaten Forest Green Rovers, beaten Portsmouth, beaten Bristol Rovers, obviously beaten Peterborough as well. A decent point away at Lincoln. Everyone seems to draw away at Lincoln these days as well. So that's just a couple of results in there as well. Obviously, a couple of bad defeats away, Cheltenham away, losing 1-0. Plymouth away, obviously the player being rushed to hospital. That's not nice to see, but again, 16 points from 8 games is remarkable. Considering they only had 22 points from 17, now they are right close to the playoffs. And under Gareth Ainsworth, never say never, because I think they went 14 unbeaten just to get into the playoffs last year. And they can put runs together. They are legs, they are hearts, they are minds. But if you look at the games that they've won, 2-0 win, 2-0 win, 0-0 draw, 1-0 win away at home against Ipswich, 2-1 win, 3-0 win. Even the games that they've lost, it was 1-0 and 1-0. So what is back is their tight-knitted defence. And when you've got Mawson, when you've got Taz, I'm sick of hearing about Alfie Mawson. Broom, leave me alone, mate. When you've got Anis Mehmeti up front, when you've got calibre of players in different positions, and they are a type of team that it does take 15 games to wear in sometimes. And it's how many points do they get from those 15 games when they're not at it? And for me, I love Gareth Ainsworth. I know you love him as well. I think he's a good guy. I think he's gracious in defeat. He speaks well, and he's not just a Wickham legend. I think he's a lower league football manager legend, in my opinion. I think what he's done for the game is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, no, Ainsworth is brilliant, isn't he? I think the performance and result away at Peterborough was probably the most impressive of the lot. Got away with one, didn't they, for the handball on the line from Tafazoli, but sometimes you got to ride your luck, haven't you? But they've gone on this incredible run. It sort of shows you that it gives a bit of inspiration to the teams below them. If Wickham can put a run together like this, then almost anybody can and charge for the playoffs. And you won't be surprised to see Wickham somehow their way into the playoffs, would you?
Well, It's a decent run. It's a steady run. It's not a ridiculous run, though, is it? It's a run that any team can do. When you look at it, they've only won 3 and 5, but they've got 10 points. That's 2 points a game. They've won 3, drawn 1, lost 1. When you stop drawing and you win games on a regular more occurrence, it does happen. Even in the last 7 games, they've still lost a couple of games, but they've managed to back it up with convincing wins. Barnsley, again at home, have been strong. 7 wins at home this season. A good point away at Accrington, a good win over Fleetwood. Poor against Bolton. Mads Anderson giving away 2 penalties in 2 games, obviously sent off. For me, Barnsley are a side at the moment, they're averaging 80 points. 40 points from the first 23 games is ridiculous. For a side that, on the day can rot the hell out of teams. You know what I mean? And, aren't great. You've even said that as well, Jake, haven't you, to me? Games coming up, Charlton away, big game. Accrington, Exeter, Wednesday. Now, the tough games for me are Charlton away and Wednesday at home. Anyway, I know Charlton are low down in the table, but going away at Charlton, believe me, on that pitch is a tough place to get a result. And then they've got awkward games. Accrington at home, which they should get the job done. And away at Exeter, I think, is probably one of the toughest games in there as well, because it's awkward. If you ask me 3 teams that I didn't want to play away from home, it'll be Exeter in my top 3. Bar obviously the best 3 teams in the league.
But Barnsley again had a really good festive period, haven't they? Apart from the 2nd of January against Bolton, where I think the red card, like you said, for your win away at Shrewsbury, completely just ruined the game and meant that Bolton could absolutely steamroll them. But I think Barnsley under Duff, they're recognising the system that they want to play. Duff is slowly but surely getting this squad, the players that he wants, doing the things he wants in and out of possession, and I think you're seeing that. Couple of additions in January, I think they'll be very happy with. I think the big one that they're probably going to go after is Alfie May. I think it'd be one hell of a signing if they can get Alfie May over the line. Then fantastic. But if they're going to get 80 points, then they're going to finish in the playoffs, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And Bolton as well. They're on 40 points. I think that's a good marker for them. They're only actually going to finish on 4 points above where they did last season if they carry on like now. But one thing I want to say, they've been on a bit of a poor run before these last few games. 3 clean sheets in 4. Dion Charles up to 8 goals for the season, which I think is huge for them as well. 2nd best defence in Sky Bet League, 1 behind Sheffield Wednesday. Have a day off Wednesday. It's not big and it's not funny anymore. Stop winning. They've only conceded 20 goals behind Wednesday, 18. Shock. Wednesday are just consistent.
They've got the 2nd. Derby have conceded less than Wednesday.
Say again.
Derby have conceded less than Wednesday.
Oh, 3rd best defence. I know Derby have gone on a really good run of late, but I just think that Bolton are brilliant overall, in my opinion. They've got goals in big moments, late on in games. I know goal scoring hasn't been their forte this year compared to the other teams around them, but it'll be interesting to see if they can get into the playoffs, because I'd like to see them, because they play good football, they play pretty football, but they're the ones that back to finish 7th this year on my mid-table predictions.
Ben, I have to be careful what I say, because I've had a lot of stick off Bolton fans over the last couple of weeks, especially this last week. I think all their games are being shown on the WWE TV program now. Look, Ben, Alpha Lion, what's he doing? What, for example, they've got a really big month ahead of them, right? Really big month. I think they've got Plymouth this month. They have Barnsley. Obviously, they've got a few really tough games coming up. Why do it? Why get yourself banned for 3 games? I think he's completely stupid. Look, I think I just agree that me and Bolton are never going to agree. They think we're thugs. We think they're thugs. But they're 5th in the league, where I've got them to finish at the end of the season. Fair enough. I don't think they'll get promoted. I don't think that sort of football gets you promoted. But fair play to them if that's how they want to go about things.
I agree there. Derby, I agree that football should be played fairly, but I'm not going to comment because my team wasn't involved, and To be fair, I quite like Bolton fans. You know, they're a good fan
Oh,
base. So
no.
I'm not going to rub against them. You know, Derby, the run that they're on, you know, the winning games of football, the scoring goals. I think it's 9 goals in 3 for them, which is ridiculous. They've only lost 2 at home, which are, you know, Plymouth Argyle and Port Vale. Now, I actually backed Plymouth to win against Derby early in the season. I got a huge amount of stick for that. But since then, it's kind of changed to both football clubs because I think it gave Plymouth the belief to can win against big sides, at big ground, and at big games at difficult moments. To win 8 out of 12 games at home, I think is really impressive as well. And at the moment, they're averaging around about 78, 79 points, which, you know, when you're looking at Barnsley and Bolton, they're all going to get similar. And you probably think that Wycombe will stay around. Peterborough could improve as well. They're going to have to carry on like this because they've had to go on a really good unbeaten streak. I think it's 11 games unbeaten now to get to where they are.
Yeah, Derby again. I mean, I spent New Year's Eve with 2 Derby fans who were pretty confident that they were going to get promoted out of this league. They may have been highly intoxicated at the time, but you never know, do you? So, yeah, no, I think Derby have had a really good festive period as well. Look, a really good side with a really good manager, a top manager at this level, knows how to get out of it. They've got players that are fantastic, that are really pulling in 8s, 9s out of 10s every week, and I think they'll. I think that, you know, looking back, I think we sort of said a couple of weeks ago they might be that team that just sneaking at 6th, but at the minute, I think Derby are pretty much a shoo-in for a top 6 finish.
You know what would be like a big kick in my face? I've said for the last 18 months since we're doing these shows, if you get 2 points a game, you win promotion no matter what you do. Well, Ipswich 25 games in, 50 points, only dropped 25 points on the 3rd in the table. This could be the year. If you get 92 points, you might not go up.
Ridiculous.
The standard from those 3 football clubs that they're setting. Now, when you look at Ipswich, that I believe it's only 9 points from the last 6 games. They've only lost 1 in that little bit of a cluster. A couple of late draws, you know, at home to Fleetwood is the big one for me. If you draw that, all of a sudden you're level on points, just below on goal difference. I think it's a decent battling point away at Lincoln because they went behind in the game. Was it Humphreys who got the goal as well? Who, by the way, I've put so far in my top 3 young players of the season. I think he's brilliant. The next games coming up are Plymouth, Oxford, and Morecambe. For me, no less than 7 points. If they get the win against Plymouth, great. I think they need to beat Plymouth 3-0, 2-3-0, and show them we're better than you. We're going to go up and put a stamper down. If they win 1-0, it's still good. I think they need to lay a little bit of a marker down for them and really, really kind of get in the faces and kind of think, oh, are Plymouth ready for the challenge yet? Which they are, but I just want to see a good game in that. When you look at the goal scorers that Ipswich have got, you know, your Chaplins, your Ladapos, your Harnesses, then you've got goal scorers in your Humphreys as well. So it's a good season so far, and it may not be enough. But Sheffield Wednesday, Jake, I'll let you start off with them.
You didn't let me talk about Ipswich.
Well, mate, running on. I've got to go in 15 minutes. I've got to go in 15 minutes. Now, go on. I'll let you have a little spell about Ipswich. Go on, then.
No, Ipswich are fantastic. They're genuinely the best side I think I've seen us play, and they've only picked up a point against us. You know, they've got some really good players to bring the likes of Humphreys, Ladapo, and Chapman off the bench. The big thing I did want to mention, Ben, is that obviously this game between Ipswich and Argyle, if Argyle win next week and then beat Ipswich, they could be 12 points clear of them. That's massive going into the back end of the season. We expect obviously Argyle to win on the weekend. So that was the thing I wanted to say really. That if Plymouth go there and are 12 points clear, that's psychologically such a big advantage for the Pilgrim fans.
However,
they've got to do it.
Psychology could be 3 with a game in hand.
Yeah.
It is massive. It is these little, you know, life-saving. Oh, have you got your little stress ball out? Have you talking about Wednesday next?
It's my cricket ball, mate.
Cricket ball. Sheffield Wednesday, 15 wins. Now, I said beat Fleetwood, beat Vale, beat Cambridge. They'll do it, and they did. I don't think they've been great for a long time, Wednesday, but to go and beat Cambridge in the start they did, to go and beat Vale in the start they did, to fight back against Fleetwood. It shows humongous character. It shows they're ready to challenge, and they're getting results where they wasn't doing last season, aren't they? And it's like they're at 52 points. They're winning games of football at home. Hillsborough's a real good place to be. And I think it's 28 points from 13 home games, 8 wins, 4 draws, just the 1 defeat. I think it was Barnsley who beat them as well. They've got them away. So maybe a bit of payback coming. They have got a few tough games coming up, but they're in a good place right now.
Yeah. I think if you wanted to be in any of the camps at the moment in terms of confidence, I think you're going to probably pick Sheffield Wednesday's camp. Scoring goals, keeping clean sheets, the home form. I won't say too much for praise on Wednesday, but they've been excellent this year, and I think the additions of Smith, Ahikwe, have really brought them on. I think they've brought their promotion expertise to this Owls side that really lacked it last year. Like you said, they might not have been great, but they've been dragged over the line by key performers. Josh Windass the other day. They've got some great players, Ben. They're completely stacked in pretty much every area of the pitch. I think I'm not too sure if Hennigan's come back yet or not, but maybe they want to address a centre-back issue. I know they've got McGuinness in there, they've got Ahikwe, etc., but they might want to bring in another defensive player. But for me, Wednesday pretty much not a shoe-on in for automatic promotion, but if I'm leaning to 2 of the 3, it's the current top 2 for me, personally.
Yeah, agree. I just think that Plymouth, people are annoying me that saying they're going to fade away. I went through their fixtures. Look, you think about it, right? They've got 21 games, 63 games available for Plymouth. That is 63 points. Now, if they get 95, between 93 and 96, they'll go up. So all of a sudden then you're thinking they only need about between 37 and 40 points. It's 13 wins. They could afford to lose 8 games by that logic. And I think they have enough character. I think this January transfer window, I think so far, they've set a mark down. They've lost Whittaker. They've signed Callum Wright today, straight away. They brought Ben Wayne in. I think that they brought enough quality in. And Callum Wright, by the way, was, in my opinion, one of the best players in League One last season for Cheltenham. Goals and assists. He was up there for the last 18 months. They're scoring goals. They've won the last 4 games. By the way, they had a bit of a blip. They didn't win in 4. I think they drew 3 of which, 2 of which were away. Yeah. So if that's their blip, I'd like to see them go on a 10-game winning streak again. Yeah,
Argyle, severely impressive. I think Whittaker was always going to get recalled to Swansea, given the form that he's got. Phenomenal player, really good football player that I'm lucky to have seen play half the season for the club I support also. I think the signing that I've probably been most impressed with, yes, they've signed Callum Wright, but the lad Saxley, I think his name is, it's coming from Norwich, who was at Stevenage for the first half of the season, been fantastic.
And doing really well on the table, aren't they?
Yeah, been fantastic for Stevenage under Steve Evans. Oh, that name just makes me.
He's a king at League 2, though, isn't he? We could be seeing him next year.
Yeah, it annoys me so much that we're going to see him next year. But listen, Argyle, there's not enough words to be able to praise them, and having a fantastic season, and I really hope that they do get break the barrier. Heartache last year, go and win the league this year. I think it's going to happen.
Absolutely, and I am a big believer in don't quit. You keep going, and if you keep going at something, you saw with the darts last night. Michael Smith lost in 9 finals, won for the first time in October, November, the Grand Slam, won the World. He lost last year. He lost to Michael Van Gogh before. If you keep going and getting yourselves in positions where, look, you're 1 win away from promotion, you're 2 wins away from promotion, you're 3 wins away. If you get a point here, you're a point closer. And Argyle are doing that. Argyle are doing the basics very well. And they're averaging over 100 points. So, they're having a really good season. We are going to end the stream in the next couple of minutes because my laptop's going to die and I don't know where my MacBook charger is. So, Jake, while we do that, I want to give your channel a quick plug, mate.
Yes, mate. Thank you for putting me on the big screen while you charge your laptop. As you can see down there. We are the Station West podcast, me and 4 other guys, pretty much all thing Lincoln City. We've got a podcast that comes out every Friday. We've got a blog for you to go and read, and then you've also got the YouTube channel, which I am on. I'm currently editing a preview for the Charlton game on the weekend as well. We do previews, we do a review show on the Sunday as well. Plenty of stuff going on. We've got all sorts of exclusive interviews with ex-players. There may or may not be a certain Lincoln City striker coming onto the podcast in a couple of weeks. So keep your eyes peeled, but we're trying to reach 1,000 and we're at just over 700. I think we're at 710, 715. So if you wouldn't mind, I'm sure Ben's going to be kind enough to put a link in the description to, if you could click that link, come over and show us some support. Had some really nice words off Ipswich fans this week. Not so much Bolton fans, but Ipswich fans. Yeah. Very nice. So thank you very much, Ben. And thank you for letting me come on again.
No problem. So we'll have another 3 or 4 minutes of a Q&A. If you've got any final questions to ask, let us know in the comments. Again, but we'll have a quick look at the League One table while we do so. Plymouth and Sheffield Wednesday lead the way 56-52, and just behind them are Ipswich. However, Derby are catching on 41. Bolton and Barnsley, both respectively on 40 points. Wickham just behind, and a gap closing up on Peterbrough on 35. Then you got Port Vale on 35, having a really good season as well. Exeter, Bristol Rovers 34. Again, seeing Port Vale, Exeter and Bristol Rovers, 3 of the 4 clubs that came up last year doing really, really well, which is nice to see as well. Just Forest Green Rovers letting the side down. Managerless Portsmouth on 31. I think they'll have a manager in very, very soon as well. Fleetwood, Oxford, Lincoln, and Shrewsbury, and are all on 29 points. So, Jake, mind the gap, lad. I know you've got a game in hand, but I don't know. There might not be. There's 73 people in the chat. So, if you've not liked the stream already, please like and subscribe as well. We do this show every week, and we had a little bet at the start of the season where if Lincoln finish above Fleetwood, I've got to wear a Lincoln City shirt. And if he finishes above us, if Fleetwood finishes above him, he's got to wear a Fleetwood shirt. So I'm looking forward to that. I might be able to give you a shirt in a couple of weeks.
Isn't this the first week in about 8 or 9 that you've been above us in the table? So just...
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Yeah, you can be above us from game week 1 to 45. As long as we're above you on game week 46, that's all that matters.
We're 3 points ahead of you next week.
Oh, yeah, let's see. Then, obviously, you got Shrewsbury, Charlton, and Cheltenham. It's just mad that you got 7 clubs between a point apart. That's how close. Cheltenham are 1 point off 13th and are 3 points off the top 12. It's ridiculous how close this level is. But when you say it's 17th, 18th, 19th, looking at the bottom 4, you win a game, and all of a sudden you could be in the top 12. Accrington just above, and Burton, Morecambe, MK Dons, and Forest Green make up the bottom 4. Hello, 4-0. How are we, mate? Have you recovered as well? Thanks, lad. Thanks, lads. Great stream as always. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Dean.
Great stuff, guys. Be watching these often. All the best for the rest of the season. I appreciate that. A couple more signings for us. You Imps, go on the Cobblers.
Yes, Matty boy.
How are we, mate? Good to see you doing well at Morecambe as well. It goes to the same union as me.
Cobblers lot. Yeah.
I hope
the Cobblers get promoted for you, Matt, by the way.
Absolutely. It'd be good to see. A great result for them the other day. But that's where we're going to end today's stream here. Thank you so much for watching. We've still got over 70 people watching, which is half of Fleetwood supported Shrewsbury the other day, pretty much. So thanks to those that have tuned in. If you haven't already, please like, please subscribe. We're very close. I think we're literally 2 subscribers away from 10,200. Also go over to my mate, colleague, I'll say, not mate. He's not paid me for this month yet to be his friend. The Stage West podcast. He's been producing some decent content lately. A couple of good interviews on there, and obviously a lot more exciting stuff to come up as well. So I recommend it. I think his content has gone from kind of a 5 out of 10 to a proper 8, 9 out of 10 consistently now since I met him. So I've been rubbing off on your answer, Jake. So what more can I say? No, but he is a good lad, all serious, and makes some really good content. So go over there. And for me, he hasn't got half the subscribers that he deserves for me. I think he needs 2, 3, 4,000 because the work he puts in is tremendous. So do me a favor before you go, give a bit of love to Jake because he doesn't get it from the lady, so we need to get it to him.
Coming from the, shall I?
It's not a show without me insulting him, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for watching. Actually, Jake to wear a Sheffield Wednesday shirt. Yes.
Dean. No,
yeah.
You know, I know that is. I gave him a lift home from work earlier. I'm not having Dean give me no, thank you.
Yes, Jake, but we'll do that. But thank you very much for watching. Over and out. Jake, any final words?
No, just good to see you all again. Looking forward to seeing you all next week after normal services resumed and we are above those cards at the end. Thank you very much.
Up the cards. Thank you very much for watching. Drive safely.
Drive safely. Coming from the man who doesn't know how to drive.
Leave it out. I'm learning.